Welcome back to another video. Today I'm working on clearing up some trees and some brush so we can get a better view and just to get rid of some of the invasive buckthorn and stuff. This is about what I got done so far. Got all this cleaned up. Still got over here to do yet. All these trees were trees that we had pushed over when I had a dozer up here. We pushed all these over. This was all cedar trees here, all this land. We pushed them off to the side. We couldn't get them down, but now I can get at this. I'm cutting them up and I'm throwing them down over the edge here, down to the chipper, so we can chip them up, and hopefully I can use those chippings to make some topsoil, because we're in short supply of that here. But this is all looking real good here. Still got this one big stump I couldn't move. It's too heavy. Have to get that with the skid steer or something. I'm thinking about maybe taking some of this dirt here and cutting it out and kind of filling it in, try to make a little bit more grassland up here. The problem with that is this is all rock under here. I brought this topsoil in, so I'm opening up another can of worms again, and I lose the topsoil that I bought for this last year. But I think it might be worth it to have a little bit more flat space up here. Part of owning a bluff is not a lot of flat ground around. I think I'm going to leave this one cedar tree here, but I think all these are going to go, and then I think I might put like a rock wall here similar to what I have down at the bottom, so that nobody falls off the edge, or I don't get crazy with the mower and lose it over the edge. I have some trouble with my camera, so that's why you're seeing that the intro actually shows all this brush here that you're seeing now already gone. But these are all dead trees here that we pushed over last fall, and I'm just now getting around to getting them cut up and chipped and out of the way. This whole property was heavily wooded up here, and I cleared it off last fall, and then since then I've done some more work to it, and I've gotten it to be where I'm pretty happy with it. But these cedar trees have a bunch of these dead trees tangled up in them, and I'd really like to get those gone. And there's also a bunch of buckthorn mixed in here, and it'd be really nice to get the buckthorn out of here and get something planted back in there that should be in there. Maybe some blackberries or raspberries or something in here. So it's kind of for two reasons. It's to open up the view, but also to get some more useful plants in here, as this is kind of a homesteading property of sorts for us. You know, we want to try to grow some food if we can. So this gets a lot of sun, and it'd be good for an area with some berries, or maybe possibly like a couple of apple trees or something. The soil's real rocky, so I'm not sure if apple trees would grow well here. But I know there was some raspberries growing in here, black raspberries. So I'm sure those could probably grow here again. So we'll maybe try to plant some of those, or transplant some actual blackberries that we have on a different part of the property that we are also clearing off. So it kind of kills two birds with one stone. I wish I would have started this filming this right from the beginning when I was doing this, but I was kind of busy and I just kind of wanted to get it done. But before this was all blocked off, and I really just started working on it heavily in the last few days. This is my second day actually of working on this. I'm hoping to get it all done in maybe 5 or 6 days of working on it, but we'll see. Everything seems to always take longer when you actually get into it. I find that these cedar trees, they're so hard to do anything with. You know, they get all tangled up, and they're they get real sharp when they're dead. They're just hard to deal with. So I'll be glad when these are gone. You can see here all these little trees here that I'm cutting right now. Those are all buckthorn. All them skinny trees are all buckthorn. So eventually those would have just taken over and killed off the cedar trees like they have in some other parts of our property where the buckthorn has kind of taken over a lot of the natural plants that were here. This hill here that I'm working on, it doesn't look too steep on the video, but it's pretty steep and it's reasonably difficult to walk on. There's a bunch of big rocks and sticks and brush and stuff, so it's actually pretty treacherous. Walking around, dragging all this brush around, throwing it off the edge. Here I'm bringing things down to the chipper, so when we throw them off the edge, they land in that big pile there, and then I gotta drag them into a different pile that's some more organized so I can chip them. So really gotta move these sticks about sometimes 4 or 5 times. You cut them, and then you gotta kind of drag them to the edge into a pile. Then you throw them over the edge. Then you gotta move them to the chipper, and then you gotta feed them through the chipper. It's really kind of a lot of screwing around, but I tried putting the chipper up at the top and chipping things that way, and that was just a hassle. It seemed like I could never get the chips where I wanted them to be, and it seemed like it was just as much work to drag those out as it is just to throw them down over the bottom. And then, since I don't have grass or anything planted here yet, it's pretty easy to just chip them wherever and then spread everything out later as a top. And if I have to worry about, if I bring a skid steer up there, I kind of got to worry about screwing up all my grass. It doesn't take much with a wheeled skid steer to ruin the grass. So I think for a lot of reasons, it's just better to chip down here. Here's a little bit of history on this property. We originally bought 7 acres, which is where this is. And this part where the rocks are here, this was an old quarry in the 1800s in the small town we live in. The houses were built with stone from this quarry. And then when you go down you can see when I go down the road, because I run out of gas and I have to go get gas. You see when I go down the road, until I turn off that road, that was actually a road that they would get the stone down with horses down to town. And then we bought the 7 acres originally, and then I was able to get another 6 acres from the neighbor. He had 8 acres, but he's got an Airbnb at the top and never really used the lower section of his land. So he sold that to me, and then another 4.5 acres came up for sale on the market, one property over. So I ended up buying that as well. So now we're up to about 17.5 acres roughly. And I'm hoping to buy a little bit of land that would connect our old land to the new land. But the woman who owns it is not overly excited about selling it to me, so we'll see where that goes. This property is in a small town along the Mississippi River in southwest Wisconsin. Even this area here where I'm working now, this was all wooded, and actually none of it was really even flat. Where the chipper is now would have been underground at this point. I had a guy with a big excavator come in and take out all the trees and dig out as much of the dirt as he could to get some more usable space here. This was all cedar trees here. I left the hardwoods that were here. There were a couple walnuts like that one behind me that I did leave, but all the cedar trees went. There was also some birch trees in here too, but they were kind of not in the best shape, so those went too. Just in a minute here, I had to go get some gas for the chipper because when I was running the last time I ran out. I'll take you down my trail and down into town here. So this trail here, where it's all gravel, you can see here, that was, none of that was there. This was all woods here. And then I cut a bunch of material out right through here. It's actually my third time building this road, and it's pretty good now. But it was non-existent to begin with. I made it a little bit kind of passable. Then I had a guy come with a dozer and try to redo it, which was okay. And then I had a guy with an excavator come back and redo it again. There's this rock wall here. That's kind of like the rock wall I'm thinking I'd like to build up at the top that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. So this whole road here, this section, until I hit the first switchback, this was all here. I did have to redo it because there was a bunch of trees growing on it because it hasn't been used for anything for a long time, decades. But this was here. This was the old quarry road. This was how they would get the stone from the quarry down into town. So this switchback right in front of me here before I turn, I'd like to, that's where my land stops and the next land starts, but I own the land on the other side of that, so I'd like to eventually try to buy that section and continue that trail straight onto my other land. I can get to that land by going up the gravel and then onto the paved road and then back off, but I'd like to be able to get to it at the bottom instead of having to go all the way up and around. When I'm turning here, this trail goes down to our house. I gotta stop here and grab the gas can on the shed. For whatever reason, right here in front of the shed has been overly muddy compared to everything else. It's just been kind of a hassle getting in and out. We just built this shed a few months ago. I was going to do a video on that too, but kind of got in a rush to try to get it in before the ground started to freeze, and so I didn't get around to that either. I'm hoping to make some more videos though, just get into making videos more regularly. I really like YouTube as a community. If I didn't have YouTube is basically all I watch. I don't watch any mainstream anything anymore. It's just really much more interesting to me to watch real people doing real things versus something overly produced. all these trails here, I put all these in. None of these were really bought with land. This area coming up right here, this little clearing here. I wanted to plant, well, I did plant clover as kind of a food plot. It didn't do the best. Last year we didn't have much for rain, so I'm hoping this year it'll do a little bit better. I'm thinking there should be enough sun there that the clover can grow there, but so far it doesn't seem like it's done all that well. This section of trail right here, this is the newest section of trail that we just put in probably 1 or 2 months ago. This gives me better access down into town. I can get through there if I go back behind my house and down, but my wife's car is usually in the way, so I have to move that to get down. So put this in to kind of negate that. And this is a touch less steep than the other one. This building here, I own this building as well. That actually used to be the jail for this town. Over, probably 150 years ago now, that would have been the jail. I just rent it out to a buddy now. I sped this up here so you didn't have to watch this whole thing, but our pumps at this little gas station are quite slow. It seems to take like it's forever to get 5 gallons of gas. The chipper blows through gas pretty fast. Probably burns about 4 gallons an hour. So it seems like I'm back and forth a lot. I also had to put a new gas tank on the chipper. It used to have about a 20-30 gallon tank on it, and now I just got a 7 gallon boat tank. The other one rusted out, so now I got a much smaller tank. So I'll fill it up a lot. turn here. This is kind of the edge of my property, and I'd like to maybe see if the neighbor on the left side there, if he has any interest in selling me a few acres as well. A lot of the people with houses up on top of the bluff can't actually get at the bottom of their land. Most lots are only 3 to 5 acres, so there's not much for width. They're real skinny, so there's no real good way in a lot of these places to put a path down that isn't overly treacherous, that you can't even get like a piece of machinery in to actually do it. Right here where this trail is, I did this trail by hand in the wintertime, and I'd like to come back through with a piece of heavy equipment and widen this section out. This is the last section that I have that I haven't redone. All these trails I originally put in by hand, and then later had somebody come back with a dozer and smooth them out, widen them out, and then I came back in again by hand and cut all the banks so the banks weren't straight up and down with roots and stuff sticking out. And then also I had to pick up a bunch of the rocks that got turned up and rake everything. And I planted it all with grass too, but not much likes to grow here with the canopy. When it's summertime, this is all shaded. It looks pretty stunning now, but once the foliage is on the trees, there isn't much for sun actually hitting the forest floor. Going up this trail a lot of times the sun's right in your eyes. It's kind of a bummer. But what do you do? Right about here off to the left, I got a deer stand. I shot a nice deer there this year. My first time hunting in probably 10 years. Finally getting back into it now that I have my own land again. And here we are, back up to the top again. So here's about how far we got done. We got all the way, can you see the wall now. Still got a lot more to go here. I'm running out of time for today, so I'm going to have to start this up again tomorrow. But it's looking pretty good. Still got a lot of brush over here too, that I got to get chipped up as well. But it's looking good. It's coming together. Here's another view of the other side of the block here. So we got all those cedar trees up there to take down yet. And then we got all these, of course, to chip. Got a pretty good pile of chippings going here. Got that pretty good pile there.
You got all this to cut up, chip,